Our time is now exactly 8 o'clock in the morning. And this hour is brought to you by the Chicken Box Combo from KFC. Available for just $495 on the KFC Smart Menu. Save like an expert at KFC. And we thank them for sponsoring the hour this morning between 8 and 9. We're going off into another interview, and I couldn't wait to get to this point because I know that it's going to be an interesting discussion. As a matter of fact, I might have told you earlier this morning that we'd be talking to this wonderful lady, Cathy Goodall, and she's a consultant, a mentor, a coach, a trainer, and an international speaker. You see, healthy relationships and sound living depend on maintaining smart personal boundaries. But the truth is, many people don't know where to start, and that is where Catherine will come in to share with us how we can get started. She will help us to establish healthy boundaries. And so we say good morning and welcome to Up and Go at this time. Catherine, how are you doing?
Good morning, Richie. I am well. How are you?
I am doing well. I hope you clearly realize that I'm anxious to get to this discussion with you this morning.
Well, I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us at this time. I think the first thing I want to establish in this discussion is what are boundaries and why is it important for us to set them?
So I think a lot of the time when people think of boundaries, they think it has a negative connotation because you think about keeping things out. But the first thing I want is for everybody to change their mindset around what a boundary is. Boundaries are protective, right? They're created to implement appropriate guidelines for ourselves and others. So it allows us to know how we're going to treat ourselves and how we're going to treat other people and how we're going to allow other people to treat us. Mm-hmm. So it's protective.
What would you say, though, are the consequences if we don't go about setting boundaries? Aren't there consequences?
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's many consequences. So boundaries keep others from crossing unwanted lines with us. It also prevents us from crossing unwanted lines with other people, right? And even ourselves, because a lot of the time we are, self-inflicting because we don't have the proper boundaries established. And, it also helps us to work within our strength. So we don't get overwhelmed. We don't feel, sometimes we go through these periods of anxiety. We go through avoidance because we haven't established the right boundaries. And those things lead to stress. And, stress can lead to physical, mental, all kind of other problems.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You make reference to proper and right boundaries. So here's my next question for you. What would you say are the benefits of healthy boundaries? Let's call them that.
So it gives us a chance to show ourselves love and self-care because we now become clear on what it is that we want in our lives and what it is that we don't want. We are now able to respect other people and respect what's important to them just as much as we help them to respect what is important to us. Mm-hmm. So we honor the relationships in our life. We help others to know where they stand with us. And it helps us to maximize our strengths and to work in that space of, I love to call it our zone of genius. Okay. And it also helps us to be more focused and more productive.
Would you say, Catherine, that self-care is an important part of our existence, and especially as it relates to setting boundaries?
100%. And I think that COVID has helped all of us to realize the importance of self-care and also the implementation of boundaries. I mean, all of us are going through a period now where we're online, and you know how that goes. People just send meetings to your calendar without asking any questions. People are scheduling meetings at any time of the day because they figure, you're working from home, so you're accessible. And so people have started to take a lot more liberties with us during this digital age. Social media is a space where you think that everything is everybody's business, and because somebody posts something on their timeline, you're entitled to put your opinion on it. And so there's so many blurred lines now around how we can create a protective space for ourselves. And the only way that we're going to be able to guard ourselves against the familiarity, you know that saying that we use here, familiarity breeds contempt.
Yes.
There's so much familiarity in our space right now, especially because of this digital age that we've moved into, that that establishing boundaries is so necessary for self-care.
I think I want to ask you at this point too, if you will, share with us, say, 5 examples of healthy boundaries.
Well, the first thing I would tell everybody to do is that they need to examine their values. What's important to me, right? Give ourselves guidelines around interacting with other people. So think about, what does our personal space look like? Who do we want to allow into that personal space? And how do we prevent other people from going into that space? And especially in a corporate space, you want to identify your strengths and your purpose. So what am I good at? So if I know that I am not good at accounting or numbers, do not allow anybody to come and ask you to go and work on a spreadsheet or to do an analysis when you know that's outside of the scope of who you are, because that is going to give you all kind of stress and anxiety, right? So we need to know what our strengths are. We need to know what our values are. And we need to know what the guidelines are that we want to interact with people. And obviously that's going to be different for individuals. I would say start with something as simple as, how do I start my day? Because how we start our day sets the tone for everything else, right? So I know that I'm not going to roll over and pick up my cell phone the first thing in the morning, because that can lead to all manner of stress and anxiety. So the first thing I do in the morning is I wake up and I get clear. I spend time with God, because that's important to me, and center myself to set the tone for my day. So how do you start your day? I would suggest that everybody starts their day with themselves and whatever it is that's important to them to center them. I would suggest also that people can schedule a list of what is important that I need to accomplish for that day. And so now, this activity that you're asking me to engage in, is it going to take away from the things that I need to do, or is it going to add value? Is it important enough to replace something that's already on my list? Or do I need to say, no, I'll do that tomorrow or another day, or I won't do it at all?
We appreciate all of those. If I were asked to make a suggestion as to how anyone should start their day, then I would simply say, just lock into UP&GO right right here on the bridge.
Up and go for sure, because you get all the good feels, right?
Absolutely. That would add a lot of value to your day. It really has been an interesting chat with you this morning. Where can we find you?
Thanks, Richie. So CathyGoodall.com, very simple, CathyGoodall.com, and that will connect you to me in all places.
All right. Wonderful chatting with you, Catherine. Have a wonderful day and a great weekend.
Thanks, Richie. Same to you.
All right. Much appreciated. 8:08 is the time, and that was a chat with a consultant, mentor, coach, a trainer, and international speaker. She's a certified John Maxwell trainer and coach, and that should not be taken lightly.